Yes, people, welcome back to episode 2 of the FLOWCAST with myself, Ryan, and a special guest this week, none other than Soph, IFBB Pro, online coach and posing coach. So this is going to be a female posing episode where you will be asking Sophie questions that she's had throughout the week, and she's going to answer them to the full of her advantage and good for you guys. So I'm going to let Sophie introduce herself as well, a little bit more than I've said.
Oh, God. Don't do this to me, Leon.
Yeah, just give us your background, like how many years you've been competing and training for anyone that doesn't know you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Most people will.
So I've been training for about 6 years now. I first competed 5 years ago yesterday, actually. That came up on my memories yesterday. So I competed a couple of times in tone figure in 2016, had a long off season, athletic figure 2019, and then did IFBB obviously this year, turned pro on the 1st of August. So yeah, that's me. Mostly sort of like a bit of a figure fan really, and physique, I would say. Definitely more knowledge on all the figure classes. But because I've competed across quite a few different federations, I like to think I'm quite knowledgeable on all the different figure posing, and I'm a big fan of classical posing. And I tried when I did PCA in 2019, I sort of tried to bring a little bit of like a classic twist to the class I was competing in that year, which I think is something that we need to see more of, definitely.
No, I totally agree. I think it's when you see all the ladies from the 80s and 90s, where it was like they'd be on the cover of like magazines and stuff like that, and it was just beautiful bodybuilding rather than I think you put a question into me and Leon last week about like women having to wear heels in certain classes and stuff like that, and it's almost putting it in a box for that category, if you get what I mean, where it's like back in the 80s and 90s, it was just fitness seemed healthy and every lady wanted to look like the bodybuilding females.
Yes.
And there wasn't like you weren't tied to certain poses in classes kind of thing to kind of fit you in that box.
Yeah, and also I think like as the years have gone on, the female condition, as with men's I suppose as well, has got more and more extreme, and that does take a level of that sort of like femininity and like shape away from the poses, and that's what I really love about like the sort of early 90s female bodybuilders, is they were never like really shredded. So they still had that kind of like healthy kind of glow to them as well. But yeah, I'm a big fan of all things sort of 80s, 90s.
I think as it's pushed it as well further, it's almost kind of took the athleticism out of it, like obviously the healthy look as well, but I don't know how some of the fitness girls do the routines they do when the condition is pushed that far. Like
me and Christian were saying this.
Dying. I don't know how
when
they do it.
We were watching the Arnolds, I was like, I'm not being funny, but I mean, you guys know as well, like when you're shredded, how difficult it is just posing.
Yeah.
And how do you think, like, I know they're obviously used to doing all this crazy like gymnastic stuff, so I suppose you do get used to it, but it is mental when you think about, like, I know like Alex Small, she's shredded. How on earth she's doing like backflips and practicing that all the time?
Yeah. Who is it that's done the Joker routine twice this year? That looks really good. I can't think of the girl's name.
That's Alex.
Yeah, it's really
Alex,
good.
Yeah, she's peeled. Yeah, I just think, like, how are you jumping around like that? It's mental.
I think as well, like everyone says, genetics play such a massive part in like bodybuilding categories. Genetics really does play a part in that category, because they must have always, since they were kids, been so far into gymnastics and just naturally lean with good muscle tone before they've even started.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really see any out of shape gymnasts, do you? That's a good point.
You wouldn't see anyone like us learning to do it either. Like
it's one of those things. It's it's like any kind of hobby, I guess, that you do when you're younger. Like I grew up playing musical instruments and horse riding, and like I would never be able to learn to do either of those things now. Like you pick up so much as a kid, don't you? Yeah, definitely.
Right, so we've had a bit about your background.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, how did you find, obviously you're IFBB Pro and a little biased to the IFBB because it's a great federation to compete in, it's your dream.
Yes.
How did you find like the posing routine side of things rather like in other federations? Did you prefer being able to do the routine side of things?
So for when you do figure for PCA NABA, you do get to do your routine, and then for with two bros or IFBB, you just have your I walk.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you don't get to do quite as many different poses as well. So I'd say like the figure classes in PCA NABA are sort of almost more aligned with like women's physique posing in the Pro League, because you get to do like front double bicep, rear double bicep, and then you get your free posing routine. So as far as sort of the posing goes in figure, it's, you know, it is quite limited, I guess, these days. You've got your quarter turns, but then you've got a bit more freedom with your I walk. You can, you know, when I say freedom, like you can't put your hands above your head, obviously, but you can do slightly different variations of certain poses. But it definitely is quite limiting in that aspect, definitely, yeah.
Does it ever tempt you to, have you ever been tempted to move to Physique or something like that?
Yeah, well, someone's asked me this. Someone's actually asked a question. Do you want me to? Shall I do it? Shall I read it out now?
Yeah, jump in.
Yeah. So I did have one question where it did actually make me laugh a little bit. So they put, did you ever contemplate competing in fitness so that you could perform a routine? And just thought of me doing gymnastics was just too much. So no, but after watching the Arnolds last week, I've been going on at Christine about, it's like, you know, when you make a joke but you're not really joking about women's physique. And I keep saying to him like, oh yeah, but I'm going to do women's physique next year because of the routines. And he's like, shut up. I'm like, no, I'm going to do women's physique next year for my pro debut. He's like, shut up. But yeah, genuinely, like it's a big temptation for me, but I don't know. I just feel like my physique obviously much more suits figure at the moment. But yeah, I just really miss it. And when the Arnolds was on last week, and I was watching all the routines, I was like, oh my God, I just love it. I love watching it. And you just get that extra time on stage, don't you, where you can just, everything's on you and you've worked so hard, and it's like you just get that, even if it's just a minute to yourself.
I think that's so important.
Any kind of routine's the same like that, though, isn't it? It's just a way to be able to showcase that hard work and show the emotional side of a routine, and have a song that you're attached to as well. It just it puts the icing on the cake, doesn't it?
Like, we're obviously biased because we do this because we love posing so much, but I've been in positions where you've not made the top 6 and only top 6 have done their routine, and it's just over like that, and like you just feel like you've been shipped off. I can imagine, like, no matter, even like at Two Bros, when you won your pro card, your category was on and finished so quick, and like, there was a category with only one girl in, and it just must have just been over like that for her. Like, it's not like, I know the winning will be rewarding, but you almost feel like, oh, is this it? I really want to actually put my passion into it.
Yeah, and I think you guys probably feel the same as well. Like, it's infuriating when you see people doing like routines that they clearly like just don't care about.
Especially when you don't get the time to do it.
Yeah. And there's like just like guys coming on, they'll go to one corner of the stage, do a most muscular.
Oh, don't.
On stage, hit a side chest. You're like,
no. You know, this is what we was talking about in the last episode, like Nathan Diasha. Obviously the physique he's got. I counted on his Arnold Festival one. He did 16 most musculars in a row.
That is hilarious.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think like so many people obviously compete for different reasons, but like when I fell in love with bodybuilding, that's kind of what I fell in love with. Was like I got really obsessed with the sort of 1990s female bodybuilders and like that classic sort of look, and then just started watching routines, and that's kind of like what made me like love bodybuilding. So, but then other people love bodybuilding for like, you know, they get into it completely different reasons, and they don't see the sort of benefit of showcasing your physique like that. So yeah, I feel like it's coming back there with the sort of growing popularity with classic. That's definitely helping things.
I say like so much presentation has actually been put on board this season. There's plenty of guys that have finished like 4th, 5th, and they could have finished like 2nd but they just haven't had a posing coach or haven't put the time in with it.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying as well, it's like me and Leon were saying before, there's like 2 different types of people. You got people that just compete because they love training and they've just got massive from training, and they just slugging heavy weights and look like that's their release. Or people like me, I don't hate my training. I love training, especially now I'm with Joe, but I don't compete because I love training. I want the end result of being able to display it. And that's why I've done it to get there.
Yeah. I think last weekend, Samson's routine, I feel like every now and then you'll have a routine that's so good that makes everyone stop and go, holy shit. And what it does is it kind of like boosts the whole it will have given like a big boost to the whole like posing scene, because it was just like that amazing. I don't know about you guys, but I think I watched it about 100 times a day after.
We went over it, didn't we, on the last podcast as well? It was unreal.
It was
the song and everything, the dedication to John Meadows, it was just nuts. It's so good to see like the big guys, like guys at that size are putting effort in, because it's just to not, in my opinion, to not be able to present yourself in a way like that is just not doing bodybuilding justice.
No,
like, in my opinion, like I think if you can build a physique worthy, like you're building a Greek statue, if you like, and you can't present yourself, it's just like you're missing a puzzle, a piece of the puzzle in bodybuilding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In bodybuilding, bigger is always better if it can flow well. Look at like Kevin Lavroni. I think that's why I'm such a fan of people like Andy Scott and the amateurs from UK, because he's so big, but second to none when it comes to like amateur posing in the UK, especially the open class.
He's a very good poser.
Even if you see him in the call out or whatever, and even if he didn't do too well, like got third or fourth or something, he's the one that stands out from the whole show because of how well he can present himself.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd rather be like recognized for.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Well then, shall we dive into some questions?
Yes. Who's going first?
We'll let you do the opener, Soph. Do the honours.
Okay. I have had a few on my box today that aren't really posing related, so shall I just ignore them?
Well, we can do daft ones as well. I think the first one was off Matt, and that was actually, who would win in a fight between you and Christian, and how fast would you knock him out? So there we are.
Hilarious. Right, so let's go with advice for a first timer. So I don't know if this is specifically about posing, but to be honest, I've got no groundbreaking advice for this. It's just the obvious, which is practice more than you think you need to practice. And also, I think people kind of just think about getting help with their posing, like when they start the prep, but just as soon as you decide to do a show, whether you're off season or whatever, just start then. And just get booked in with someone, even if it's just once, so you know exactly what you're doing. Because the amount of girls I've taught that are competing for the first time, and some of them haven't even been to a show, so that's another thing I would say. Like, you have to go to at least one show before you compete. And just
see the standard, I think, as well, because a lot of people are actually quite shocked by the time they get there.
Yeah, and just understanding like not only what you have to do, but what the judges are actually looking for. Because for people like me and like you guys, and we've maybe got into bodybuilding through a different way, but like I knew what the judges were looking for before I even built a physique I was ready to present.
Well, you were with Dan, weren't you? And I know that's one thing that Dan gets a lot of flack about, and he's like, well, look, read the category, read the like description of what's needed, and that's why his girls do so well. Like even in toned or something, someone might be, oh, they're too smooth or whatever. It's like, well, read the actual criteria. Make sure you fit it, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that just sort of get into it, like sort of fall into bodybuilding, like they don't seem to sort of understand like what makes a good physique. Do you know what I mean? Like, right, what are we looking for here? Well, we're looking for like nice V taper, X frame, nice sweeping quads. And like, I think some people they rush into it and they forget what an aesthetic pleasing physique looks like. And you've got to have that at your forefront of your mind all the time. So that would be my advice, is understand what exactly you've got to do for your competition in particular. What the judges are looking for should be at the forefront of your mind all the time, and then just practice earlier than you think you need to.
Have you got like a certain way that you teach a beginner to pose? Like, do you structure your posing lessons through the weeks as you go through with them, like start off with basics, sort of like, or do you give them all the quarter turns, etc., in one go?
So it entirely depends on what they've done before, if anything, and then on that first session I'll sort of work out how quickly they're picking things up, and certainly with people who maybe don't move sort of as naturally with much flow to start with, I won't even think about like moving from pose to pose with transitions or anything until like way down the line. It's just a case of like, let's get your actual poses sorted first, because I find if you try and throw too much at people all at once, like how to do a pose and then move out of it into another one, it's just way too much. So I try and just nail the actual poses before.
Yeah, I don't do transitions. Like I don't do half-hour sessions because I want to give every mandatory. So I'll always do a full hour. They can have a consult with me for half an hour and maybe go over like one or two poses they want to hit. But I teach everyone to do each pose, so the quarter turns on each pose in the full hour. And then they'll get sent like an instructional video and aftercare from them.
Yeah.
And when they get to their second session, they at least know the rough silhouette of what they're doing, and we can then either go through transitions if they've got it really well, or tweak and move from there.
Yeah, and I think sometimes as well, especially with like girls who are really, really new to posing, you might get them to do a certain pose one way, but actually when they come down nearer to the show, I've just done that recently, actually, in fact this morning with someone, changed it quite last minute actually, just because what they looked like however many weeks ago, that pose doesn't look as good on them anymore. So this one looks better.
I find that for some stuff as well.
Yeah.
It's the attention to detail with the small things like that makes a difference, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. So that's my advice. Do you guys want to do one next?
Yeah, I can get one up. 1 second. So I got one from Lactic Addict Luke, obviously. Big man's in there all the time. What song would you do your first posing routine to?
Is this a question for me?
Yeah, because you're going into physique, bigger. Now, obviously.
Physique, right?
Yeah, that's it.
If I was going into women's physique and I was doing a routine,
when you do,
I've got 2 songs that I never got to do a routine to, and obviously now I'm trying to think of them. I can't. Bear with me.
You like me and Leon got a playlist of about 50 songs that you want to do routines to.
Yeah,
trust me. Yeah, change it about 100 times before you get paid.
I did that. I practiced a routine all the way up from my 2 bros, and then 2 weeks out, I was like, "No, I'm not doing that anymore. Just change the song completely."
Really? Right. What a feeling! I've always wanted to pose to that. Flashdance. It's like an 80s tune.
Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah. And that's another one. Take My Breath Away. I've always wanted to pose to that as well. So they're my top 2, because I was going to compete at the end of 2019. I was going to do NABBA Universe because I qualified for that. And I did start doing a routine. I put a routine together for What a Feeling and never got to do it. Because I didn't end up competing. So those 2 definitely. But yeah, I tend to like the sort of quite slow, especially to start with, like the slower songs, and then something that's just got that sort of build up really quite close to the end, so you can finish with like a bit of dramatic pose. But yeah, when I do my women's physique debut,
Crystal will be fuming or something.
You'd end up looking like the female Keon Peterson with that tiny little waist and it added muscle mass. It'd just be nuts.
I'll tell you what, I think
he'll come back. He'll come back from London this weekend and the gear cupboard will just be empty.
Well, his Primo's just gone.
Just laughing in Primo, literally. You know,
I wish like physique's like, Alicia Kisling, is it? She did physique this year, didn't she?
Yes.
She obviously doesn't push drugs like crazy because she's not nowhere near the other. I wish physiques like that got rewarded a bit more because she's so good at presenting that I hope that it does shine a light on something like that. And I don't know whether they obviously don't need to make another category, but maybe blur the lines a little bit so other physiques fit in and can present a little bit more.
Yeah, she is physique, isn't she? She's not she's physique. She's got, I love the way she presents herself. Yeah, massively. She's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely getting more popular. I think, with people like her, she's got a huge following. It will definitely, hopefully, over the next few years, just keep keep getting better, and we'll see lots and lots of the most musculars at the quad stage.
But it's just the front relax for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your goals for your pro debut? Have you got a show in mind? Have you got a result in mind that you want to get to?
So this all depends massively on how quickly I can get back to full training after I slipped my disc. So for those who don't know, I did slip a disc 2 weeks after my last show. So if I can get back to full training on legs by hopefully next month, November really, then I will still plan to compete at the end of next year for my pro debut in women's physique. No, I'm joking. in figure. So, but in terms of like, have I got any goals like with placements and stuff? No. Like my goal next year is do a pro show and enjoy the experience for once. And yeah, just enjoy the day, look the best I ever have. Enjoy the experience and just see how I compare to these other girls, because I've got to kind of be realistic with myself, like without being negative. Like I am like older than like a lot of the girls who are kind of coming up in the pro league now. So yeah, in terms of like, am I going to really go all the way? No, I don't think so. But I'd rather just focus now on really enjoying the actual show day, because I've had that sort of I've taken that away from myself before, just from nerves and pressure.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice to not have any pressure going into this whatsoever, because I know you hated it, didn't you, for the British, everyone saying, oh, you're going to win, and like it is a lot of makes you panic when people say that. But
I hated it because in the NABBA Britain 2019 I had everyone saying I was going to win it and I didn't. And it really sort of got to me, did that, and it really knocked my confidence. So I just kind of was like, I don't want this again, please, God, no.
Like people jinxing it.
Yeah, and then like my parents were there, they'd never been to a show before either, so they were there, and Christian's parents were there as well, and they'd never even met, so they met for the first time on my show day, and there's just all this stuff going on, like, oh my God, there's just build up of
all
like,
going on.
Every time my family comes to the show, I get like spanked. And it's like the most miserable day ever.
Oh,
like, why did you come to this one for?
Just don't invite them, and then you'll win it. You'll win them. There you go. There's the theme.
That's the best thing, though, isn't it? It's just like what you said. Try and focus on enjoying it as much as you can, and just being the best version of you. That's why I always say to people, like, especially leading on from the first question about for a first timer, it's just obviously focus on being the best you can on the day, and that's what I did leading into my first show. I had a lot of pressure, don't get me wrong, from having the same stuff of people saying, oh, you've already won it, bro, this, that, and the other. It's like, no, it's not going to happen, but you just try and go in and be the best version. That's the only way you can put least stress on you as possible on it.
Yeah, we're just going to probably, like, my plan is to just throw myself in at the deep end and just do like the hardest, biggest pro shows from the get-go. So I think we're going to head out to America, do probably 2 shows over there, and then stay on for the Olympia to watch, obviously. So yeah, that's the plan. Unless because I saw they're going to do the Arnolds in the UK again. Unless if they do a figure pro show this time, obviously I'd definitely be up for that. But this year they obviously just did fitness and bikini, I think. Yeah, fitness and bikini. So yeah, America's the plan at the moment. Just, go big or go home.
Yeah, that's it, man. Out to the USA and that. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be fun. Post-show food.
I got another one leading on from that last posing question, actually. Is right. Hey, guys and girls, what do you take into consideration when choosing posing music?
So, I do have a general rule of like a posing 101, where it's something with vocals has like the same 4 beat, like near enough every song does. So it's quite easy to pose to and link the poses together, because not everyone is on beat and not everyone has rhythm. So if they listen to the lyrics and there's something that really connects with them, a song they love, they know when to move. And then naturally something like a big dramatic song will have a bigger drop, like you said. So start it off slow, and I'll have the 30 seconds of the slow stuff, and then the 30 seconds of the drop from the biggest poses, like a general structure to structure most people's stuff from.
Yeah, I'm exactly saying that's how I think of it. Slow build up, and then something with some sort of impactful bit to hit like your best pose, or like turn from the back to the front for something. And then, yeah, I would say that's pretty much. I'm not a fan of fast ones.
No, neither am I.
No.
Unless you're Terence Ruffin, and I think it's hard to pose to a fast beat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got to be really good to move like on beat when the beats are off and everything. It's like it's real hard. So
and maybe just like having a song that like emotionally you connect well with as well. I think if you that some lyrics hit home hard, and it, like the emotion just runs through, and it shows it in the posing as well. I think.
Yeah, I think it's good to do something in terms of like thinking of it as an actual performance as well. If you want to like actually like make an impact, if you that's a consideration as well, then picking something that that's not overdone but that people will recognize. Because if you come on and pose to, I've done this before, I posed to a song that no one knew, and like it, people won't kind of stop and watch if they hear a sound that they've not, a song they've not heard before. So I think something that's not overdone but that's recognizable or slightly well known. And then I always like it as like an added bonus if the song's got like a lyric which you could sort of match a pose to. Some way. I like that if you can sort of do something like that as well.
That's why I like Christians, because it wasn't like too niche that like everyone would be like, what the fuck is this song playing? It was like something that nobody would have heard before, but it was like engaging as well. Like it weren't like screamo music, it weren't like crazy drum and bass or something. It was like dramatic and just like the perfect mood for what he wanted to do.
Yeah, like I'd never heard of it before, but all the way through prep I had it in my fucking head, because obviously you play all the time. Never bloody practiced it, but you play it all the time. So I'm practicing in my head. I'm like, okay.
He did nail it, to be fair, as well.
I was like, literally, came on stage, like, how the hell have you just pulled that off?
On the first one at the
that at all.
At the PCA, when he dropped into that back double and it hit on the same beat, my hairs were standing up. I was like, right.
That's what you want as well. That's what I always say as well. Like, pick a song where, think if you are first in the class, and you've got 9 guys in after you, is everyone going to remember your song and your routine by the time the last person's done? And just make sure, like, that's why I always say choose something different, or like choose something like really, really engaging. So like 2 or 3 people in, they're still thinking about your song. That's really what what the goal is when you're doing a posing routine.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But yeah, my jaw was literally like, when Christy was doing his posing routine, I was like, and then like he finished, and the not bad face meme. That was literally it.
It was like he hit it because he connected so well emotionally with it. It was when he stepped back and hit his side chest and side tricep. He just had that grin on his face, like like going for it.
Yeah, he smashed it. Bless him.
Smashed it, bro.
Oh, it's so good. That was a good day. Right, so shall I go next? Your favourite and least, that's a good question. Your favourite and least favourite pose on yourself? Should we all answer this?
I've got the same one, actually, funny enough.
Yeah. So, now, if I'm talking about poses that are in my class right now, which I will base it off, my front pose is probably my favourite pose. I know most people don't really like that, and I've always felt like it's one of my stronger ones. And least favourite, I'd never really got on too well with the way we do like the side quart turns and 2 bros. When I've done like PCA NABA style, where you've got a bit more freedom, you can like sit into your glute and twist around like that.
Oh, really open up,
Yeah, I did like that much more. And obviously, like my rear double bicep was probably my best shot when I competed in 2019. So if I'm talking like poses outside of just IFBB figure, that would probably be my favourite one for that as well. Side tricep, don't have triceps, so that's never been a good one for me. That's something I need to work on.
I think that's really strange how like a figure has to get into the side tricep, with that front leg out. It seems really hard to learn that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just think the leg positions are so different for women, aren't they? Yeah. What about you guys?
I'd say for me, probably my best poses are probably like my quarterback shots. So like the long reaching shots. Worst pose to be is probably a back relaxed, I think. Just personal preference. I don't think it looks as good as the rest. As if I hit a rear lat spread, I think I look a lot wider than I would in a rear relax. So probably.
I sometimes teach posing like that. I've just had a girl this morning, actually. She's just moving up to physique, and we kind of struggled to get her lats out in like a front pose and a rear pose. But I noticed that when we just tried doing some lat spread poses today for the first time, and I was like, oh right, well you do have lats then. So like I got her to sort of come into a lat spread and then just bring her arms down, and like it completely transformed the way a front pose looked. And I was like, wow.
I've had a few lads like this season, and like it's almost like when they'll try and flex the back in like a relaxed shot or a lat spread. Yeah. They'll almost roll their traps, or they'll flex the back rather than spread it.
It's not about flexing it.
You got to think about like no muscle and just keeping the collarbone down. And then, we said on the last podcast, like how like a hammer strength pull down, how the lat would arc under like that.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to keep the collarbone down and arc the lats under, like external rotate and spread it rather than flex anything.
Yeah, a lot of girls try and do that. A lot of girls try and like on their back double biceps, like crunch their back up. I'm like, no, you need to open it up.
Yeah.
You don't have to squeeze everything all the time. That's actually something to add to the tips for first timers, because I had a girl quite recently in for a lot of posing lessons, and it wasn't until about the 5th or 6th session I realised that she was squeezing the shit out of everything all the time. I was like, and as soon as I told her to just relax, it completely transformed every pose. I was like, what? Like, you don't have to flex everything really hard all the time. It's knowing what to switch on.
That's what I say to my lads, especially if they're beginners. I'm like, I have a couple of points like tidy hands, things like that. And then I say you're never flexing more than 2 things at once when you're going through stuff. And I think especially if you're doing call outs and stuff, you're only flexing, say like your side quarter turn, you've got your legs locked straight. So like you don't need to flex your legs. You just squeeze your glutes to keep you in and keep your hips from moving. And all you'll do is open up like a PCA figure girl and then flex the abs. So all you've got is like the glute and ab on, the glute and obliques on. And it's like you can just hold stuff so much easier rather than over flexing like crazy. Yeah.
People don't realize if you're turning in certain positions and just putting pressure on the muscle, it's tensing itself anyway. There's no need to be shaking and trying to hold it like a side chest. Like if you're holding there, by the time you drive the elbow back, you're going to be serrated across there if you're lean anyway.
I was going to say, when you're that shredded, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, definitely. Ryan, yours.
My most loved and most hated poses.
Yeah.
My most hated used to be my front lat spread, because I don't have like low lats or like wide lats. So it just used to kind of be like, how pretty can you make your shoulders look standing quite wide? But I feel I'm improving that this season. I hate my side tricep. I just find that quite hard to look impressive on me, really. My favorite shot would probably be
front double.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm lean and not got a stomach on me. I don't look too bad.
How much worse?
About the rear lat spread.
Christian said that when I was dieting. He messaged me and he was like, bro, it's not literally till you were like 6 weeks out from a show your physique starts to come alive when you're actually lean, because I just like nothing like pops like crazy on me, like arms, back or anything like that, or legs. So until I've got little body fat on me, everything just looks like a set of delts on like a block of fat, basically. I just look really straight up and down.
I've always thought I have just a seriously average physique in off season, like, because my waist is like my main thing that goes like tiny when I diet, but it's the area I hold fat. So as soon as I get put a bit of weight on, I just lose that shape. I just lose my sort of shape, which is kind of like the only thing I've got going for me. So it's like, all right, I'm now just, and
I don't have like strong blocky abs either. So as soon as any fat's on there, it's just like wash out, gone, straight gone.
I've got a small hernia as well, and it looks worse in off season because that hernia is like a build up of fat, I think, as well. Like fat can build up around it. So like all I see when I look in the mirror now is just this belly with my hernia. I'm like, great. Great. Whose turn is it?
I'll go next.
You go next.
What about self-coaching? Like, how come you prefer self-coaching now in the off season? Like, is it your first time for like self-coaching?
No, so I pretty much always coach myself in off season. So Dan Welburn prepped me when I was dieting at the start of 2019, and then I just went back to coaching myself until this year when I decided to compete. And I just said to Christian, I was like, should we just prep me myself? Like, I thought about going to to someone else, and I just thought, no one knows my body better than me. Obviously, Christian knows what he's doing. It kind of was like the perfect combination, really, of just doing it together. And I think I kind of felt a bit of pressure to like almost, I think it was like I felt like I almost had to have a coach when I turned pro. It was like, oh well, who's a pro and doesn't have a coach? Like I need to have a coach, and like thought it would just be the right thing to do. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot going on. As soon as my shows finished, I was still working full time, and then I was still coaching and doing my pose and tuition as well. And my bodybuilding was like, it didn't take a back seat, but I couldn't make it like my priority. I had to just, I had so much on with work, and like I kind of said to Joe, it was just causing me stress. It was just adding another stress onto my life at that time. And yeah, I just felt like I wasn't really benefiting from it. It was just sort of causing me like more negative things than positive.
Like when you're stressed, it's in the back of your mind as well. It's almost like as if you got pressure to perform, I guess, for your coach as well. I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm not doing them the justice or whatever, and not giving them the attention, and like being like
100%. And like me and Joe kind of chatted about it, and I was like, maybe it will hold me back in the future. And like, he was like, I don't think it will. He just said like, at the end of the day, not everyone can benefit from coaching. He was like, if you really love programming your own training, which I always have done, and you don't like react well to like the pressure of having a coach, then you probably are better suited to working with yourself. Obviously I've always got Christian on hand as well. But how our prep worked this year, honestly, like looking back, I'm like, fucking hell, like it was like we smashed it, considering like lockdowns and all this shit as well. And I just think the thought of doing it differently to that doesn't appeal to me. I just think, oh, it worked. Why do I need to change it? So yeah, I don't know. Now I'm obviously coaching and stuff full time. I have got a bit more free time. I can make bodybuilding a bit more of a priority again. I'm just going to see how I get on, but I think I'm too far gone. That's the bottom line. Is like once you've not had a coach for so long and not used to having that like professional sort of like relationship and like the accountability of like checking in every week and this and that. I'm the sort of person like, because I've always done my own thing, I've just used to being accountable to myself, I guess.
Yeah, I get the impression you're like just so chill about the whole thing that it's like no drama suits you perfectly, just sailing along, like just
I'm very like I think I've relaxed Christian quite a bit in terms of, I mean, he's still not relaxed, but in terms of like, he's very like, everything has to be perfect. You can only have like one meal off a week and all this sort of stuff. Whereas I'm much more like, I'd rather just have a little bit of things across the week than have like a huge, like big meal off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've kind of like met in the middle, I guess, in that way. But I definitely have chilled him out in that sense, I think, in terms of like, I am probably one of the most relaxed, relaxed bodybuilders, I think. But when I'm on prep, I'm very much, that's it. That's what I'm doing. Nothing else.
That's the beauty of an off season though, as well, isn't it? And a growth phase is you can balance life a little bit more than you would in a prep.
Yeah, I feel like there's this trend coming up now where like even in off season you shouldn't do that, and it seems to be getting more and more, there's more and more pressure on people to
everyone is obsessed with being as anal as possible in bodybuilding.
Yeah,
I did it myself. Obviously being my first prep, obviously starting from the first timers, before that in the growth phase with Joe, I didn't really understand much of it. So obviously I had like 2 cheat meals the whole off season. And I was so fucking strict with everything. Like I was like, yeah, I'm bang on with it all. Like didn't binge out at all. And then by the time I started prep, I was like, fuck, I wish I had them. I wish I had that food now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think it's realizing like someone once said this to me like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's really stuck with me. It's like, you do realize you can build muscle on food that's not clean.
Yeah. Like clean food, what, you wash it first, you mean?
Yeah. And like once I thought that, I thought, yeah. And like, honestly, for my off season before this prep, my kind of rule was like on a weekend, I just get my protein in. That was it. That's how I used to do it. So like anything I'm doing now, where like I'm eating like my meals Saturday and Sunday as well, this is all stuff that I've never been that accountable before. And that's another thing I thought, is that all these little things I know extra I can do. I do, yeah, and I don't need someone to tell me to do them. And it's kind of like it's only me who's gonna get sick of my own shit and fucking get my head down and crack on with it. And yeah, I think I just realised that I just needed to make those changes myself, really. But yeah, I think the little things do add up, but it is important to be able to enjoy.
I don't think I could go without a coach now, because I like to do stuff as optimal as possible. Like I'm not like Mr. like knowledgeable or like dead anal about everything, but I just, you know, where like Will and Matt are like have macros and stuff for the day, or like just fill it out, and like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's perfect. But it would really piss me off. Yeah, I could do that on my food, and it was like, you know, a few grams off with stuff like that, or it's not optimal what I'm doing. I'm like, well, that's not what I hate. Like feeling
your head goes in it.
Like, yeah, I hate feeling like, I love just being told, do this. Okay, yeah, sound. Just that's.
I'm a meal plan person. 100% meal plan. Meal plans are the way.
I think as well, like in my opinion, in the long run, if you're like looking to be a serious competitor, I think having a meal plan and knowing what's going in the body every single day is the same at the same time as well. I think it just benefit you more than, like, it's all right if you're like everyday lifestyle person who's looking to get on just a bit of size, like to be able to have the freeness of being able to macro track and stuff. I do understand it, but like I say, everyone's individualized, isn't it?
Will said, he was like, you can get to like 5 weeks out from a show just by like tracking your macros and stuff, and you can, if you're like sensible and accountable and like not emotionally driven or blinded by stuff, then you can easily. But it is that extra, like, you know, the extra 15-10%, that little extra push. To be
in bodybuilding, percentages do play a big part, don't they? You can be in, especially in a prep, like,
and especially with everyone being as anal as possible now, like everyone has the fear of getting beat, everyone has the fear of like turning up and not have done everything possible, like even with posing a lot,
because there's so many freaks now.
Yeah, I know you can't get away with it.
Like you turn up at these amateur competitions and you got like Olympia worthy physiques just chilling there, like just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, some of the first timers shows this year, I mean, I know there's another one tomorrow, isn't there? But they've been mental, absolutely mental.
Yeah,
absolutely mad. It was like that. Was it the bikini woman a couple of months ago that did her first timers at the Europa Spain? She did the first timers, she won it. She did the novice, she won that. She did another show on the same weekend, won it, and then she done the fucking overall, won it, and got a pro card in her first weekend of competing.
Yeah,
like what the fuck is that about?
That's like Vic, though. Do you know Vic, wellness girl from the UK? She turned pro at her second ever show.
Yeah, it's mad.
And she, I mean, she was walking around looking like a pro anyway. Like, she's just insane.
Some people it's there, aren't they, physique wise? If it's there, it's there. No matter how long you've been training, if you got the physique for it, it's there, isn't it? Like,
100%.
Questions. I'm done for questions. I didn't get that many, to be fair. I'm done.
I wanted to ask about like your posing business and stuff. So, like, how is it going? How do you structure it? How are you finding leaving your main job and stuff like that?
You know what? I was like, because I had 3 months notice. Yeah, because I had 3 months notice period for ages. I've been like, once I finish at the office, I'm gonna have so much time. I'm gonna do all this stuff and everything. I've been like, I'll do that when I leave work. I'll do that when I leave work. And this week's been my first week, and I've just not stopped. And I'm like, I've not stopped at all. Posing is so busy at the moment. I think it's because it's on the run up to quite a few. Like, there's obviously the PTA British next week.
But the season ending, I'd get quieter, and I was looking forward to a bit of a break. But I had like 6 inquiries last week. I was like, oh my god, like, yeah, I've got a show in 2 weeks. Can you fit me in? Like, not really.
Oh yeah, man, them ones, in it.
Yeah, I've been so busy with posing recently, and I'm just kind of enjoying that whilst it's obviously still busy. and then probably going into like you say, by the end of this month it'll be a lot quieter, and then I'm going to really focus on pushing my coaching business on the run up to the new year, when obviously I'll start getting more pose inquiries again. So it's good. I'm really liking it, and I've got quite a few coaching girls now as well who are going to be competing for the first time next year. So it'll be really nice to sort of do like the whole thing with them, and just do all the posing with them, and just take them from like literally A to B. Yeah. And yeah, it'll be really good. I'm buzzing for it.
I find that really rewarding this year, because this is my first like proper season of being like a posing coach and having like enough lads to get everyone on board. And it's literally just been the best, like having like a week in, week out, like someone's up on stage. It feels like amazing.
Yeah, I've got a client doing the PCA finals next week, and I don't know if you've seen me post about Rachel, figure girl, blonde hair, and she looks
mad. She looks mental.
Been training since November last year. She did a
makes me want to quit stuff like that. Does
she did the same show as Leon. She did that first timer show.
Yeah, that was all the good physiques on that show, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then she came to me about 2 weeks after that, and we kind of had like 5 or 6 weeks to sort of up food, and then we had to start bringing it back down again. But I just rammed her a load of food and just made the most of it. And like her posterior is just transforms. Like I've seen her this morning. She came for like a face-to-face check-in, and I was like, you didn't have a back in May. Now you've like got a decent back, and it's just, the progress she's made is absolutely bonkers. So I'm really looking forward to getting her into an off season, and she's going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with next year. Be good. But yes, I'm loving the self-employed life.
You need to get some. We need to get some seminars sorted for male and female, because that would be really good next year.
Yeah,
definitely.
Collective seminars, that would be sick.
Yeah, it'd be cool to do like a sort of classical posing one, and see if we can get because I think I hear from quite a few girls that are like interested in sort of adding a bit of like a classical flair to their posing, but they just don't know really where to start with it. And I do think it's going to be getting more popular, so it'd be cool to maybe able to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, with stuff like that, you could even like us jump in on yours, and then you jump in on one of ours, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and, like give your insight, because we both have like a good insight of classical posing. It's worth giving the eye on somebody and bouncing ideas around. That's what I've liked about my seminars this year. Like you have like 6 guys or something, you can stand them in front of each other and like see what works and what doesn't, and like explain to the guys and like teach them like as if they are judges, kind of thing, and see the difference between each one of them.
Yeah, that's what I get my clients to do. I'll send them pictures of themselves, and then like other people on stage doing the poses and be like, this is what you need to be looking for when you're looking in the mirror and you're practicing. That's the sort of shape you need to be looking for. Because I think especially with the women's classes, like when you're doing something like a side chest or a side tricep in like PCA and NABA, what I'm trying to explain to girls is like in that pose, the judges aren't necessarily looking for like a big shredded tricep. They're looking at the shape, and it's the overall silhouette. It's not about who's got the biggest muscles and like, and who can flex the best. It's literally just like creating a pose that suits your shape the best, and it's all about the silhouette.
What I always say is like, it's really funny if you took someone's grandma to the show and you just go, which one looks the best, Nan? They go, oh, I like that one there. 9 times out of 10, that is literally how it is and how it's sim, just by who actually makes sense on how they pose.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be going, oh, why is he bending over like that? Like,
Hilarious.
That's a good way of explaining it, actually.
But it's true as well.
I was at a show once, and quite a few years ago, and someone, I can't remember who it was, one of my friend's parents there, they'd never been before, and they were watching the lineup like, oh gosh, this is so difficult. I don't know how they choose. And like, I was just looking thinking, is it? Like, but so people see different things, don't they?
Yeah. I think that's as well with the first timers and things. Don't stress if you're doing everything to get in shape and pose and everything like that. 70% of people at shows are like, probably shouldn't really be on stage at that point. So just like, if you're in shape, just don't worry. Enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
We could go and look at some posing or some people's Instagrams if you want while we're here.
Yes.
Got anyone in mind?
We can pull up Alicia's.
Oh yeah, because I've not watched that yet.
It was really good. Do you know what I love? And like we were saying how it's a shame to put ladies in a box when it comes to like feminine posing kind of thing. Yeah. But she was, I think, so obsessed with classical masculine poses before, and she's really changed it this season. But it suits her. She's like added more femininity into it, and it's rather than being like, you look more feminine doing this, it's made a whole routine just that little bit more softer and more beautiful. How she's done everything. It looks really, really good.
So what's the name of this Instagram? Do you want me to look up?
Is the Classical Queen.
Ah, yeah. Where's she at? Boom. Yeah, great physique she's got on it.
Really, really good.
She's really tiny, isn't she? Like height wise.
Yeah, she must only be like 5'2".
She's really.
That's a great shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a sick shot. That is a goal of mine as well, to be photographed by this guy. What's his name?
Whitman. Oh my god, he's so good.
Like, that is one of my bucket.
Insane.
That is one of my bucket list there, 100%.
I don't know where she posted it. Maybe Buys and Tries posted it. I know it was on my story, didn't I?
There's a back shot there.
Yeah, Buys and Tries have posted quite a lot of stuff.
Back double's mad as well. Buys and Tries. So
yeah, the girl who won the Physique Olympia last year has won it again, hasn't she? Sarah.
Oh, this one here.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I really like her. She's really good.
Crazy.
I do love her, but she beat Shanique last year, which I was not happy about.
Yeah, didn't Shanique retire from that as well?
Yeah. No one beats her. Like in my eyes, she's the best female bodybuilder of this like decade. 100%. Like so good. It's a real shame.
The Classical Queen. Where's she at?
Yeah, it'll be down this.
Oh yeah, that's bodybuilding.
There it is.
There you go.
She is tiny, isn't she? Like
she's like the same height as Isla, like not even 5 foot.
So good.
Far too good. She used to do a lot of posing with Terence Ruffin, didn't she? And send each
yes.
Like,
yeah. They all do as well. You know, like I think she poses a lot with JT Physique as well. Do you follow JT?
Oh yeah. Jonathan. I can't give you a second name now.
I only remember people by their Instagram names. I'm fucking terrible. But yeah, so sick to be fair.
She is very good.
This girl I like, go back down, wherever you just were. Yes, the girl to the right of her. She was in figure at one point. I just think, to me, her shape.
And look at them lats.
Yeah, her overall look is just so feminine. Like the way she like that is.
Yeah, it's really good.
Gorgeous. Just really like her physique.
So watching this now, is there anything that you would critique posing wise?
No, I'm just in awe, to be honest. Like, I'm just thinking about my Women's Physique Pro debut now. Right.
There we go, yeah.
What's Christian got in the cupboards for me?
To be honest, these don't look attainable, especially when you look at like, so if your shots post go were like ridiculous, like there's no way you couldn't attain this. I suppose it's just how far you wanted to push.
Yeah,
really.
It's, I don't know. I always think, oh God, like I always think I'm too old, and like I know I'm not old, but like in terms of like bodybuilding, I just think I've left it a couple of years too late to really push it. But then some of the physique girls are that bit older, aren't they? Because you need to have had that long in the gym to build that sort of tissue. Oh my God, no, we need to watch Sydney.
Yeah, if you go up first.
Yeah, go and watch Sydney, because
the one on the left.
To the left, yeah. Her posing is like just flawless.
See, this is why it's good having you on as well, just like because I know like hardly anything about women's bodybuilding side of things. So it's just getting the knowledge on that as well.
She's very slow with the posing, but she's captivating, and she's got her own style.
I love that kind of posing where it's like slow, but like it's almost like you could hear a pin drop. The audience just like taking a breath in as it's all happening. She's really, really good.
So captivating. I mean, her physique, this front shot is just nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the way she moves her arms. Just so smooth with all the transitions.
And that takes a lot of practice, and also being able to get it naturally, because there's so many people that try and transition like that in the men's categories too, and it just looks like some bad form of body popping. Like, I was happy that Samson this year stopped doing that. Yeah, that was one thing that let us posing down like the last year. Yeah. He tried to do like the Kai Green, Terence Ruffin kind of thing. It didn't quite get it.
Her facial expression as well literally doesn't change the entire time she's on stage, just like this huge grin. So this is Sarah, isn't it, who won Physique?
Yeah.
She's like the condition queen. Like, I don't know if you follow her on Instagram, but
I've seen her last year. Yeah,
her glutes and like hamstring just absolutely bonkers.
Look at the VLs as well. Like, it's nuts.
Mate, she got a lot of muscle. A hell of a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And like the thing is like, obviously this is Physique, but the girls, figure girls, the girls who do figure and the ones we've just watched, like, compared to these girls, they look small, but if like you see them in person, they're, especially like their legs and their back, they're
Sydney's massive. Like, the muscle bellies are so round, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like when you think about like girls like Erin, obviously from the UK, who did her Figure Pro debut this year. I mean, Erin's not small, but she was saying like, she was saying like the girls in the pro figure league and stuff like 30 pounds heavier than her. It's like,
look at the legs on this girl. This is the first one.
This is bodybuilding.
Did you see the women's pose down for bodybuilding?
Yeah, man.
Oh, mate, it was so good.
They were dance off.
Yeah, basically. The music dropped. They were all just like having a good time.
Mental.
Look at the leg from the side. Look, that's bigger than most amateurs, like men's, like literally.
Oh yeah.
Some pro.
You know what gets me as well? Like every woman that is a pro and like top of the standard can really, really pose, but there's maybe like 3 guys that can pose out of the pros.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Is this the second year women's bodybuilding's been back at the Olympia?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
They had wellness in for the first time this year as well, didn't they?
They did have it, yeah.
There we go, classical pose.
Wellness girls ain't small either. They're big. Like
their
big.
legs are huge. Yeah, mental. It's just getting like
wellness here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Sonny Andrews, isn't it?
Yeah, she's a doctor.
Jeez.
Crazy. Her glutes don't look like human.
No, I was just about to say that.
Wait till she turns out they're not normal. Mental. Like, what is that?
There's got to be like 50 cc's of metaform straight in
there.
Man. Not like all muscle. It can't be. That's crazy.
Like,
if Bunda was a person, fuck you.
Hilarious.
You know I was dying to say that, didn't you? Right? You was like,
yeah, man, you gotta bust that word out on every podcast.
It's not like Bunda. It's like when you see a big one, it's like Bunda.
When we spit my water out.
Oh, God.
And that big jug. What is that thing you're drinking from? Is it like?
It was
bucket.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. I was like, what is that?
It was a Star Wars. You know, like when you go to the cinema and you get like a massive slushie. It was one from the Star Wars, but I've actually had it that long. All the print has gone off it.
Oh, here we go. It's one of the fitness ones. Yeah.
This is the Joker routine.
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't Alex then.
No.
Because she did this same routine at the Arnold like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. This was the same one, wasn't it? It's nuts, though, man. Like, imagine, like, just like we said earlier, how depleted you are, and like a mouth like Gandhi's flip flop, and you're on there doing this. She's got a fag in her mouth as well. Like, what the fuck?
It's a real good routine, man. There's 2 parts of this video as well.
I've not seen it.
Have you not? It's so good.
No, I thought you meant Alex's routine, but hers was Venom, wasn't it? It was Marvel, not the Joker.
Did you see Jumanji Jafu? Did you see him do the backflip on stage?
No.
No wonder why he placed that aside the top 10. The guy did a backflip in his routine at the fucking Europa Spain. Yeah, literally, yeah. It's like grounds for dismissal, isn't it, for males to do flips?
Jesus. Do you know much about the judging criteria for the fitness routine section?
No, I don't actually, to be fair. Do you?
No, I'm not very well versed on it. All I know is that the physique round is judged exactly like figure. So they're meant to physique-wise look exactly like figure girls. I know that they have to do specific things in the routine bit. They have to
have key elements, don't they? Like
they have to have like some sort of press up. And
you'd say they would get like almost like gymnastic judges in, wouldn't you, to judge this sort of round?
Yeah,
like it's like phenomenal gymnast. Like some of the stuff.
So this girl is also someone who was coached by
John Meadows.
John, yeah.
She didn't. She won the Olympia last year, didn't she, Missy?
Yeah. No, Whitney.
Or was it? Did she win the Arnold then? She's won a big one, yeah.
Yeah, it's Whitney who's won fitness twice in a row now, I think. But I
think
you
watch her on Fuad's podcast recently.
Who? Missy?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was cracking me up, to be fair.
Good.
Talking about her, like she was dressed up with her fella and they was going out. She's like, I don't know why everyone's looking at me, but she had like a mini skirt on and she's got like quads the size of people's waists. You wonder why. Let me try and find it. She might have posted it actually. Where's the photo?
She's got a crazy physique.
There we go. She's like, I don't know why everyone's looking at me in the restaurant. She's jacked.
Yeah, her
crazy, man.
Do you find that difficult to deal with, Sophie, like being a more muscular girl and actually just like, wanting to go out for somewhere nice for dinner or something like that?
Yeah, I think because like especially in gyms and like in York in particular, there's not a lot of female bodybuilders. So like in the gym, which is like the only place I really go, I'm surrounded by men, so I permanently feel small. And then I just don't really think I look any different to like normal girls. And then I'll go out and Chris will be like, everyone's staring at you. I like, especially when you're shredded, obviously, like it's even more like obvious.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I absolutely love it. I find it hilarious. I think it's funny. I find it funny when men are like disgusted by me. I'm like, good, fuck off.
Just bite them. Literally.
Like my goal physique is to repulse all men except Christian. Just go away.
Well, just the same with anyone in kind of bodybuilding, because there's so many people that don't even know about bodybuilding. Like I'll be walking around Tesco and the amount of people just stood there looking like, what the fuck is that?
That's because you do your ILS walk and walk around like that.
One time in the airport, the security guard asked, he was like looking at my shoulders, and I was like, the security guard asked me if I was a professional swimmer. I was like,
swimmer?
Kick me whilst I'm down.
Right, you might as well have said, are you natty?
Swimmer. I was like, wow. You saying I got shit legs or what? Oh god. But no, I love it, to be honest. I think like I always think now, oh, bodybuilding is so popular, like everyone bodybuilds, but really in the grand scheme of things, like you just have to go out into town and go shopping, you realize actually no, not many people are bodybuild.
I live in like a small town as well, and there's like a few people that go to gym, but you get that kind of like, oh, it's fucking gym lad.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, I think in York I'm like bodybuilding, so that's how people know me, just because there isn't really any other female bodybuilders in York, really. It's crazy, but yeah, I quite like it, to be honest. It's sort of, I always think I'd rather sort of, people are going to say shit anyway, aren't they, no matter what you look like, so I'd rather
you may as well be happy with what you look like, and people will be fucking
I love it. Like when I'm in the gym and I'm shredding and look like a total like freak, and people like I'll catch like young lads kind of like 18-year-olds, and they're looking at this like
like terrified.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I love it. Great.
Yeah. It's good to be different though, isn't it? Who wants to be the same old person every day? That's why I say people are scared of bodybuilding because they don't understand it. People are fretting.
Yeah, I think like I've always really enjoyed like even before I got into bodybuilding, like I've never wanted to be like, I've never been particularly like a delicate sort of female, and like I've never been like shy or quiet. And what I found when I found bodybuilding was like, it just kind of like, I felt like it encapsulated everything about my personality in like a visual kind of form. And everyone was like, oh, you know, do you not feel feminine? I'm like, I never really think of it like that.
It's so nice though at the minute, like, you know, with like the circle that we're in, that it's, even though like there might not be another female bodybuilder in York, or like there's no one really in my town that actually lifts, like we actually have friends that are into the same thing. You're not like, you're individual, but you're not like alone or lonely.
Yeah,
definitely
100%. It's great, the world of Instagram. Are we both going to be at the show next weekend?
What's that?
Is it the final?
Yeah,
I'll try and get there. Yeah,
because it's in Birmingham, isn't it? Yeah, because
they've moved it to Hull, haven't they?
I thought they moved it back to Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's definitely Birmingham, because we're I've got a client in it and we're staying at Christian's overnight.
Yeah, if it's in Brum, then I'll be there. It's only like half hour from me, so
yeah.
I'm qualified for it as well. I might as well just do it.
Just pop in.
Let me just start popping some diuretics now, and then we'll be ready.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do that for our guest pose, mate, because I'm getting fat. This is not gonna be pretty in 2 weeks.
Trust me, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to manipulate some fluid or do something. Do you know what I mean? Fuck me.
Are we doing the guest pose?
Yeah, we're opening
up Battle of Bedford. Oh, both of you.
And we've still not practiced really, so we need to get on that.
We've got a rough outline of what we're doing. We've got like about 45 seconds of it.
Are you gonna what are you going to wear, like on your bottoms, like proper show trunks or like plain black ones? What are you thinking?
I don't know. Probably left it quite late to get some show trunks.
You say a wetsuit.
Yeah, it's gonna some like fat pants. Like what girls wear, keep their like belly in.
Just wear absolutely nothing. You just
They're called Spanx, Ryan.
I actually need some of them. Keep the muffin top in check.
That's how I feel. Oh my god, funny. Cool. I look forward to that though. Definitely look forward to that.
Yeah, I think that's got over an hour now on that as well, isn't it? So
yeah, well,
that was a really good episode, to be fair. I enjoyed this.
Awesome.
It's a good insight to be able to keep it obviously not just like the strictly male podcast. It's good to get the female side on there as well, because
100%.
The female side is probably even busier posing wise than the male side. So
yeah, massively.
It's good to attract that sort of view on it.
Guys are catching up though, for sure.
Yeah.
With me and Ryan pushing it out now, it's definitely going to catch up soon enough.
Yeah, and we'll have to get some seminars on soon, like some joint seminars up York Way or somewhere like
that. Yeah, and we'll have to start working on my women's physique.
Yeah, Chris.
I was actually wondering this. Can you because you know Meg Sylvester, she moved from bikini to figure, didn't she?
Yeah.
But what do you need to do?
Well, she put 10 kilos on in a year this last year, so that probably helps.
No, but last
probably
year she
leave it to the imagination.
But she did, when she won a pro card, she was bikini, but she did compete in figure last year as well, but she never did a pro show in bikini. I just wondered how it all works in terms of like, do you just decide
when you're a pro, you are classed as an IFBB pro, so you can jump from whatever category you want.
Yeah. Well, same as Sebum. Sebum got his pro card in open.
Yeah.
Did he?
And he got his pro card in open because he used to compete against Regan Grimes when they was the same weight.
Yeah, Regan was the same, got it in open. Open.
Same as open. Who else is it? Logan Franklin got his in men's physique. Now he's moved up, obviously, to classic physique.
But it's like John Jewett, like he turned pro, I think, as a heavyweight. So obviously, because in America it's like middleweight, heavyweight, light heavy, etc. It's not like 212 and open, is it? So that you get your pro card and you just compete in whatever category is like fits you best.
It's the same as me now. I've outgrown my amateur weight for classic. I might even have to try and push for a pro card in open before I could even go and look at like pro classic. I don't even fucking know. It's just I'm just getting too wham. All that primo and black. Jeez. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up now, and obviously in the description box.
Yeah.
I will stick obviously all of our details in there for everyone watching, and I'll also stick obviously Soph's details in there. As we said before, Soph is an online coach. Soph is a female posing coach. So feel free to contact her if you want to be booking with her via the description and the link. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning into this episode, and I will speak to you all on the next one.